Hello everyone, this is Mr. Wolf, and today I wanted to talk to you about finding factors. So factors are the smallest pieces of a number using multiplication. So every single number has a factor of 1 and itself, because we know 2 can be made by 1 times 2, 3 can be made by 1 times 3, 4 can be made by 1 times 4, and so on and so forth. This is the identity property of multiplication. But some numbers have other ways you can make them, and that's what we're going to actually focus on. One and the number itself as the factors are not going to be our focuses because every number has one. What we're going to look for is the numbers that can be broken up besides 1 in itself. So for example, let's start with something a little bit small, something simple, like 6. Well, 6 can be broken if we are looking for factors, things that can multiply together to make 6. And I always start by saying, well, is it an even number? Because if it's an even number, I know I can start by saying 2. So 2 times something equals 6, and that something would be 3. And I'm going to look at both of these numbers. Can 2 be broken down any smaller? No, the only ways that I can make 2 is 2 times 1. And we said that's not something we're going to look at. So I'm going to put a circle on it and say this is a prime number. It can't be broken any smaller. Can 3 be broken any smaller? Nope, the only way I can make 3 is 1 times 3. So that means it is a prime number. And now I can say the prime factors of 6 are 2 times 3. That one's pretty easy because there are only 2 numbers involved. But for some numbers, there might be a lot more. For instance, let's look at the number 18. So 18 is also even. So I know I can immediately say 2. So I want to think what 2 times something equals 18. Well, I know my math facts. I know it is 2 times 9. So now I'm going to say, can 2 be broken any more? It can't. It is just 1 times 2. It is a prime number. So I'm going to circle that. Now, 9, I know 9 can be broken further. So I'm going to keep my roots going deeper and say 9 can be broken into 3 times 3. And as we said earlier, 3 is a prime number. It can only be made by 1 times itself. So I'm going to circle both of those. And so I can say the prime factors of 18 are 2 times 3 times 3. So this time there are 3 prime factors that are together make the number 18. Let's look at one more, a little bit more complicated. 48 has a lot of factors. So I'm going to show you how it still works even if you don't do it the way I recommend. So I always recommend that we start with 2, see if 2 goes into it, and go that way. But you don't have to do it that way. You could look at this and say, oh, I know that 48 is 6 times 8. That is true. And so this will still work despite the fact that we didn't start with the number 2. I think it's a little more difficult when we start with the bigger numbers, but it'll still work. Let's look at this and keep it going. We say, is 6 a prime number? It isn't. We can keep breaking it down because as we said earlier, 6 is the same thing as 2 times 3. Now both of these are prime numbers. Now I'm going to look over here and say 8 can be broken. And I know 8 is 2 times 4. 2 is a prime number, but 4 can be broken even more. We're going to keep these roots going deeper, and we're going to say 4 is the same as 2 times 2. And now here is where I do want us to organize it. When we're writing out our prime factors, I always am going to say all of my 2's first, then all of my 3's, then all of my 4's, and so on and so forth. Actually, you'll never have 4's on this list because 4 can be broken. So I'm going to say 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 3. So this is how we can find the prime factors of a number. Hopefully this was helpful, and I'll talk to you again soon.